Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Premiere Pro tutorial. In this lesson, I want to quickly introduce you to the basics of this software so you can start working with it, edit your videos, and publish them. As soon as Premiere Pro opens, you'll see the new project option here. Click on it to create a new project. I'll choose a name for it, for example, Test 1, and set a location for it. Now this location can be anywhere and you can change it. For example, I'll change the location to this particular section and then simply click the Create button to proceed. Right at the start, the window that opens is in the folder where your file is saved, and the information we prepared beforehand, like images, footage, and audio files, is placed inside it. If you want, you can use these. There are also sample MIDIs available, so if you want to do a quick test or practice, you can use these sample MIDIs as well. I go back to my project folder and select the items I want from my own project folder. I can check the items and import these folders. As you can see, everything gets imported. Or another way you can import your files is by clicking Import Media here and importing from there. If you click the Import Folder option, the folders will be imported as folders, and you can import these folders one by one. If you right-click here and select Import, you can also bring in other items as well. You can have it here. Okay, after we've done this, the first thing we need to do is to make sure that the frame rates of the videos we have are the same, because if they're different, we need to unify the frame rates. So the first step is to check which one has the lower number and then change all of them to that number. We select all, right-click, go to Modify and choose Interpret Footage, then enter the number 23.976. Now all the frame rates are the same. Next we need to create a sequence, which we can do by clicking and dragging one of our videos. Our sequence will be created, as you can see. This is one way to create a sequence. There's another way. I'll delete the previous sequence. The other way is to click on the sequence option here and create your sequence, or you can create a sequence from this section, or use the Ctrl+N hotkey to do it. From the available options, you can choose which one you want. Since our frame rate is set to this number, I'll find this number here, and since most of our videos are HD 1080, I'll select this option. If you have 4K size or other sizes or frame rates, you can set it to whatever you want. I'll select this, and you can change the sequence name to whatever you like. For example, I'll name it Sequence A and click OK. You see, my sequence is created. Then I can select my content by holding Shift and clicking on the items and move them to this section. One thing to note is that you can change the color of these footages as needed. For example, let's say I right-click these two, go to Label, and change their color. This one to this color, and maybe this one to another color. You can change the colors as you like, so you have different colors and can find them more easily. Very good. I select the items, select the footages, and click and drag them to this section. We call this section the timeline. After we create our sequence, this timeline is created, which has a line in the middle. The lower half is for audio, where you can use all kinds of audio files, and the upper half is for video files, meaning you can use all kinds of video formats and images. Each of these sections counts as a track, so I can, for example, put them on different tracks as needed. When I play it, you see that as we move through these items, we see these options one by one. For example, if we want to delete one of the items, we can select it and delete it with the Delete key. The empty space created here can be closed by right-clicking and choosing Ripple Delete, and we can move the items again. The good thing about tracks is that if you want, you can deactivate one of the tracks by clicking this option twice, and when you're on this section, you won't see that track. Whenever you want, you can activate it again. The same goes for audio. For any audio you want, you can mute it so you don't hear it. As you can see, in the lower half, some videos have audio and some don't. If we want to unlink the audio, we can right-click on it and choose Unlink to separate the audio and delete it since they're attached. Or by holding the Alt key, you can select the audio separately and delete them, and then use another audio if you want. For example, I'll bring in another audio file and move it to this section like this. Very good. And after this, we can then move on to the very next step. Cutting videos and cutting audio. I'm going to mute this audio so we don't hear it. I come here and position myself, and we can use the razor tool or the shortcut key C to make a cut wherever we want. As you can see, I position myself here and press the C key, and I can make a cut here. Now there are 3 other methods for cutting, but this is the simplest one. And since you're just getting familiar with the software, this will help you do it more easily. After that, if we want to select any of these clips again, we can use the Select tool, which has the shortcut key V, to select them and move them around. As you can see, when I'm moving around the timeline, it automatically selects the tracks for me, and whichever one I land on, that track gets selected. Now the tracks that are on the first track layer, see, that's because this option, Selection Follows Playhead, is enabled. If I turn it off, this won't happen anymore. And for each one I want, I have to click on it, or you can use the shortcut key D. But if I keep it on, then whichever clip I land on, it will automatically select it. By selecting any of the footages or clips, you can enter this section. And in the motion section, you can change its scale, make it smaller or larger. You can also do this from the properties section. Your workspace might not look like this because your workspace is different. You can change the workspaces from here, or by clicking this option, you can change the workspace. Right now, I'm in editing mode. For example, if I switch to starter mode, it looks different, or I can go back to editing mode and return to the previous state. If we want, we can resize the panels ourselves according to our needs, making them bigger or smaller. Any of the options you don't want, you can click on this button, right-click, and select Close Panel or Unlock Panel. Unlocking the panel makes that section float, and if you want, you can move it to any area you want by holding this section. For example, I can place it here, and again I can unlock it or close it. Any window you close, you can bring back from the window menu and place it wherever you want. So we can easily change our workspace. The options we have now are properties, effect controls, and the items you see, and of course the timeline. So we can easily adjust the workspace to our needs to have the best working environment. The timeline is very important for us. It should have good dimensions so we can work comfortably. To zoom in on the timeline, you can use the plus and minus keys. By holding the Alt key and scrolling the mouse wheel, you can also zoom in and out, making it very easy to zoom in on your timeline. By pressing the up and down keys, you can go to the beginning and end of your clip. The up and down keys let you quickly jump between clips. As I said, when you select any of the clips, you get a set of parameters here, which are also available in properties. You can work with either, but later, when we add effects to our clips, this list here will expand, and this section becomes very important. For any clip you select, you can make changes. For example, let's look at one of these items together and review the parameters one by one. We have the position option, which can move the clip left or right, or up and down. You can change the anchor point, which I'll explain to you later. Scale makes it smaller or larger. Rotation rotates it, and opacity is its transparency level. For example, if you have 2 clips on top of each other like this, when you lower the opacity of the top layer, since it becomes semi-transparent, you can also see the layer underneath. That's one use of opacity. You can crop, meaning you can crop a part of your image. Now, from the left, from the top, from the right, from the bottom, you can crop the image, and in fact, 2 images can play simultaneously like this. By pressing Ctrl+Z, I go back, and the clip returns to its original state. You can resize these tracks as needed, making them bigger or smaller according to your needs. If you need to add a track, you can right-click here and select Add Track. For example, in the video section, I add 3 tracks, and in the audio section, I add 2 tracks. As you can see, the tracks are added here. You can grab the line below these tracks and make them smaller so you can see them. By pressing the tilde key, you can maximize or minimize any of the windows you want. The tilde key is usually located above the tab key, and in this way you can easily maximize or minimize that window. The items we reviewed here are also available in this section. They're the same options. Again, we have position, we have scale. For example, if one of these images has a large scale, you see this one is scaled up. I can make it smaller so it returns to the original image size. Or for example, I can set it to 50% so it matches the image size. Likewise, we can actually import a photo into this section. I've imported photos as well. As you can see, these photos are imported in exactly the same way as videos, and the same options are available for images. We can increase or decrease their scale or move them around. By default, each image is given 5 seconds on the timeline, but we can make that shorter or longer. You see, we can increase or decrease their duration. If you happen to grab one of these clips and drag it over one of the previous clips, its duration will automatically decrease. As you can see, its time span gets shorter, and I can bring the audio back in and add it to it, so the audio duration is added as well. In the effects section, we have both transitions and effects here. Transitions are placed between clips, while effects are applied directly to the clips themselves. Let's take a look together. For example, I go to the effects and select the brightness and contrast effect, then drag and drop it onto the clip. As you can see, its parameters are added here. In the effect control section, the parameters appear. I can decrease or increase the brightness or adjust the contrast up or down. Whenever you want, let me change it. If you ever want to disable it, you can turn it off or on using the FX button, or if you want to delete it, just right-click and select clear and it will be removed. There are a lot of effects here, and learning them all takes quite a bit of time. In future tutorials, I'll try to show you how to work with different effects so you can achieve good results. This tutorial is really just an introduction to working with the Premiere environment and a basic Premiere tutorial. It's for those of you who haven't worked with Premiere before and want to start using it. I'll try to explain various topics for you briefly and quickly so you can start working with this software. Video transitions are placed between clips. For example, I use a dissolve. As you know, I grab a dissolve and place it between 2 clips. So what happens then? These two are fading into each other. Or for example, just as you can easily select individual clips, you can also meticulously select dissolves, and these dissolves themselves inherently have various parameters. For instance, if we choose to use dip to black, what precisely happens is that the video gradually fades completely to black and then smoothly comes out of that black state. We can significantly increase the duration from either side to make this particular effect last considerably longer, as you can clearly see. And we can also simply delete those transitions. We can also very effectively place transitions between different images as well. For example, I can easily put a dip to white between these 2 distinct images, and as you can clearly see, it gently fades to white and then smoothly comes out of that white state. There are a great many different types of dissolves available. I just briefly mentioned a simple dissolve to you. For comprehensive color and light correction, there are many different modes and options, but you can conveniently use these ready-made presets. You can easily apply one of those specific presets to your video and observe the color change, as you can clearly see, and that is actually added as a distinct effect. If you want to apply an effect to all your tracks at once, you can simply create a new layer here, which is specifically called an adjustment layer. I will place this adjustment layer on the upper track and carefully stretch it over all of them. And then I can select one of the available effects, whichever one you specifically have in mind. I'll pick one that's a bit more noticeably impactful, for example, and then drag it onto this adjustment layer. What precisely happens is, if I turn this track on and off, you can clearly see that it profoundly affects all the layers underneath, and basically all those lower layers are directly influenced by it. This is a very effective method to easily and efficiently color correct your entire video. If you want to decrease or significantly increase the duration of a video, you can effectively use this particular method. I will move it to the upper layer, then right-click on your clip, go to speed or duration, and if we decrease this specific number, the speed of our video noticeably decreases and its overall duration becomes considerably longer. If we increase this particular number, our video becomes much faster and its speed significantly increases. Now, for example, I can make it much faster. The video becomes much faster this way, allowing for a more dynamic and engaging viewing experience. Another very useful option available in that particular section is speed duration, where you can conveniently use reverse speed, which meticulously plays the video in reverse, so your entire video will play backward. Whenever you specifically want your video to play in reverse, you can easily utilize this feature. When you enable reverse speed, this fascinating effect will happen. If the videos you are currently working with are particularly heavy or large in file size, you can simply select them, select your footage, any of the numerous items you have within your project, and you can effectively proxy them. From the very same menu, use the Create Proxy option to significantly lower their quality, for example, to a quarter or even half of the original resolution, and then carefully set the address to your preferred project folder. Of course, Adobe Media Encoder absolutely needs to be installed on your system for this to function correctly. After you click OK, it will automatically open Media Encoder, efficiently compress all your selected videos, and then conveniently save them in your designated project folder. Let me quickly do this for you right now so you can clearly see the process in action. I will change the project folder address to desktop, specifically to this particular section, and then click OK. Media Encoder opens and all my clips are queued up, and it automatically exports them one by one in order with very small file sizes and very low quality. And in the end, what happens is that you see an icon appear here, which is the proxy icon. If the proxy button is enabled here, you'll see your footage in lower quality. If it's turned off, you'll see it in its original quality. So what is this useful for? This is useful if you have a weak system. You can proxy your videos so their quality is reduced, and when you're editing, you enable the proxy button to view them in lower quality, making your system run more smoothly. Ultimately, when you export, the software automatically outputs your project in the original quality, meaning you get your final export in the same quality as the original footage. It's simply a helpful tool that lets you work with lighter versions of your videos during editing, so you experience less hassle. This is especially useful when you have a lot of videos or heavy video files. So this is another very useful tip. As you can see, there's also an icon here to remind you that the proxy button is on. Of course, it can also be enabled here, but when you click the proxy button, if the proxy icon is active, this happens. It's a very helpful tool, so when you want to export, it works with the original quality. So that's another positive feature. The same applies to audio. You can select the audio and its parameters will appear here. You can increase or decrease the volume. In the effects section, we have audio transitions and audio effects, which are exactly the same effects you can apply to audio or between audio clips. For example, I use an audio transition. Let's say I choose the fade option. It already fades by default, but if I assign a fade to it and increase its duration, I can drag it out to here. And from this point, it will start fading out my voice. Just like the transitions you use on your videos, you can use them here as well. Another method is that when you import a video, if you click on your video, it will show you a preview here. You can select exactly which part of the video you want using the mark in and mark out options with the I and O keys. I press I here, move forward, press O, and then transfer the video here. It will only import the portion I marked, which is a really nice feature that makes it easier to bring in your content. There are other methods too, but I don't have time to explain them all in this tutorial. I try to quickly and simply introduce you to the Premiere workspace. You can use the type tool here if you want to type something. For example, you can create a I write the word Academy here and I can increase its duration. As you can see, we have a font that with the parameters you provide, which are similar to the parameters you see in all software, you can change the font and also specify other things like the color and position. It's really that easy to type something and place it on your image. You can also make its size a bit smaller, put it in this corner, place it up here, or anywhere else you like. And finally, you can go to the export option and you export the video you created by clicking on export. Here we specify the location where it will be saved. For example, I'll save it in the same folder and name it Final. I click the Save button, set the preset to Match Source, High Bitrate, specify the name, and choose the H.264 format. We click the Export button and you've successfully exported your first video. Now all you need is to have different footage which you can get from videos you shoot yourself with your video camera or even your phone camera. You can import those and start creating.